Oh, freak. Hi everyone, I'm going to react it to Bungo Stray Dogs, episode 6, The Azure Messenger. And last episode was an episode focused on Rambo, whose ability, ultra deduction, is not really an ability. Like, no, he's just super intelligent and can just like solve a murder or cases like in an instant. So it was really cool to see him work and everything. And yeah, so that's what happened last episode. And before we get into this one, if you guys are my reaction, please give it a thumbs up, please subscribe, and please consider supporting my Patreon at patreon.com/filmini. And now let's start this episode. And here we go. Okay, like I said, I was confused about this episode a little bit. So I was sitting here going through it again because I was confused about the Azure King and the Azure Messenger and like all of that, how everything is connected. Because this episode, the way it started, I knew it was going to be focused on Kunikida, right? And they got this case. He got this case about these missing visitors or whatever. People will come visit the town and then they will disappear like a day later or something or other like that. And then they got a message from somebody telling them the location of the kidnapped victims, right? And so Kunikida went to see Rokuzo, who is a cyber criminal and he's also an informant. And then Kunikida asked him who sent the info, about the kidnapped victims, and then he said the Azure Messenger, right? And that sparked something in them. And then, okay, now I'm like, is Rokuzo the Azure Messenger? Because after they left Rokuzo and then they went to the place where the kidnapped victims supposedly are, and then they saved that girl, for some reason I thought that this girl was part of something, because the way, she was in the tank and she was about to drown, but then I don't know, just the way she just turned and looked at Kunikida, and then Kunikida saved her, and then she immediately told them about these people that were also there that are in danger. I'm like, okay, is this some kind of twisted thing that she's part of? I don't know. So I've not been trusting her ever since she showed up, And so she told them about these other people that were kidnapped, and then they were there, and then people were being gassed to death. And then there was this camera that was looking at Kunikida that took a picture, and then that picture showed up in the news. Excuse me. Basically blaming the agency for the death of these people, right? Kunikida is in that picture. And then you have the camera that was there that was looking into them. And then they're talking about the Azure Messenger. And then in this particular episode, they showed us Rokuzo, who has cyber abilities, right? And then his father died as a result of Kunikida telling them where this Azure King was located, So I'm like, connections, This kid probably blames Kunikida for his father's death, and now he is trying to, like, it was Kunikida that was on the picture that was in the news, And then they figured out that it was the taxi driver that was behind the abductions and everything, and they were saying something about it being because of organ. They were trafficking these people's organs and everything. And then the guy said, okay, please protect me for at least like the last 72 hours while the police do the thing. And then they're like, why do you need that protection? And he's like, the one of the people that I abducted was part of the poor mafia. I'm like, oh shoot. And then the poor mafia started attacking. Now, who was part of the poor mafia? That mafia? I'm thinking it was the girl that was part of the poor mafia. That's my mind went. So the driver got out of the car and was running away from the gunfire and everything. And Kunikida told Dazai to go after the driver, and he told Asushi to call the police or something or other like that, and that he was gonna give a distraction. And that's when he used the bubble wet and flashbang, and then the others went after the driver. They went into the building, right? And then this dude just showed up. Akutagawa just like showed up right then and there. I'm like, you know how Kunikida told Asushi that if he was to meet Akutagawa, he would just run away. And I'm like, okay, what is Kunikida gonna do? He actually faced Akutagawa, and he did pretty good. So I'm like, okay, because he used his gun, fired off his gun into a water tank or something or other like that, and then the water fell on Akutagawa. Like, he was all soaked up with water, and then he used his ability, made a stun gun, and just threw it in there, which was like electrocute, whatever, man. But then he got out of it, and thankfully the police was coming, so he's like, I have to go. And he acknowledged the agency's ability, and then he said that they were worthy of being a good cover for Dazai. So I'm like, okay, did Kunikida, I feel like Kunikida should have heard that. And if he did, does Kunikida know that Dazai used to be part of the poor mafia? Because they were saying at the agency in the previous episode that they didn't actually know what Dazai was doing before he joined the agency. So it's like, if they didn't know, and then Akutagawa just said, they were a good cover for Dazai. So I'm like, shouldn't have sparked something in Kunikida, So after that whole scuffle, Dazai said he gave the driver to the police, and the driver actually told them previously that he was hired basically by this group, this organization of organ traffickers and whatnot, and that he usually meets them at this building. And then they go to the building, and the building is the same building that the Azure King or whatever blew himself up. And then they're there and talking about what happened, and Dazai made the connection between the detectives that went into the building, the 5 detectives that went into the building, that one of them was probably the father of Rokuzo. Yeah, the father of Rokuzo, and that's why Kunikida was looking after the boy, And then as they were talking, I saw the computer, this laptop there, just sort of like some kind of loading circle thing that kept, turning. I'm like, why is that there? And then they received the message, I guess, from the Azure messenger, and then he's like, there's a bomb that's gonna blow up and whatever, and that they needed to disarm it. So I'm like, okay. I was slightly confused as to the motives of the Azure messenger. I'm like, either there were 2 thoughts that were going through my mind. Either the Azure messenger was maybe like a son or something, someone that's related to the Azure King, and that's trying to make up, I guess, for what the Azure King did, him being a terrorist. Now this messenger is leading the agency into solving these problems before now he's telling them to disarm this bomb, or hundreds of people are gonna die. So if the agency disarms it, then it is thanks to him, because he's the one that gave them the tip. And then he's also the one that gave them the tip about the people that were kidnapped, where they were located. And they saved the girl, but they didn't save those people. So it's like, my mind, I'm thinking, okay, that's one possibility when it comes to that Azure messenger. And then the other possibility is that the Azure king is, I'm thinking, Rokuzo. He led them to where those people were being, the people that were kidnapped, where they were. He led them there. He let those people die in front of Kunikida, and then framed the agency for basically those people's death. And now he's leading them to this bomb that the agency is probably not gonna be able to. He's thinking that they're probably not gonna be able to disarm the bomb in time, and then all those people are gonna die, and then he's gonna pin it on the agency again, with Kunikida at the forefront. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know, so I guess we'll see. Thank you guys for watching, and if you like this reaction, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and if you want to see my reaction to the next episode, you can do so by checking out my Patreon, patreon.com/feelingme. You can also see the full length for this reaction there as well. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye. Ils sont toujours premiers, de m'empêcher de briller. Ils vont pas y arriver parce que pour nous là c'est en haut.